Well, it is truly an honor to welcome you to this virtual experience of some of the important sites in the historical downtown center of San Salvador. Today we're going to pay special attention to events and people whose lives were impacted, and in many cases lost, in the staggering violence and repression that took place in the late 70s during the entire decade of the 1980s in El Salvador. And central to this is the figure of Archbishop Romero, his life, his legacy, and his death. And so the images that we're looking at right now take us to the central plaza of downtown San Salvador and also show us the front of the National Cathedral. Now, this cathedral was completed and inaugurated in 1999, and at the time it had this amazing artwork, colorful artwork with animals, plants, people, from the national artist Fernando Yort. And if you look at the images of the cathedral today with that very kind of bland front, that was because several years later, with a change of church hierarchy, it was decided that those would be taken down. Right now we're also looking at images of the National Palace, which is kind of the seat of government in the downtown. And this view right now is from the front steps of the cathedral, and it's worth mentioning that here, after Archbishop Romero's murder, they tried to hold his funeral, but sharpshooters began to fire from that National Palace towards people as they were entering into the National Cathedral. And 44 people were killed that day as part of a stampede as people tried to run and flee the shots, the bullets that were flying on the day of his funeral. So in the end, his funeral never was able to happen in a formal way inside the cathedral. And so now we're seeing some images from the inside of the National Cathedral. And while it is filled with more traditional art that depicts images from the life of Jesus, and particularly the transfigured Christ and the Savior, which is the patron saint of El Salvador, you can see that images of Archbishop Oscar Romero are really the focus and the centerpiece of this cathedral. Oscar Romero was named Archbishop of San Salvador in 1977, and the church hierarchy believed that he would be a figure who would keep things calm. He wouldn't shake things up. He would maintain the status quo because he was seen as a figure who was quite conservative religiously and socially and very timid. But when he comes into power as Archbishop, he was very moved by the experience of the Salvadoran people, as we see in this image of Archbishop Romero walking, accompanying his people. And it was their suffering, the violence that they experienced, that really transformed him and made him an advocate for the poor, for the marginalized, a voice for the people with no voice. And when his